we're of course, in human relations, that's easy to say. But when you get into your karmic life, that goes to many subtle level. Well, who forgives? And the third, which is the most difficult one for me, was at least, not now, but it was very difficult, was to forgive myself, forgive others. So the retreat to me, that was 4 months, that I thought at the beginning that, my gosh, it's too much, And the mind plays with it, huh? What are you doing here? Why are you here? Do you need to be 4 months in Thailand? Why don't you do retreat in your farm in southern Chile? Why do you come to Thailand in the first place? The mind is very, very powerful. But in the end of the retreat, I wanted to stay there. It was very difficult for me to get out of the retreat because I knew that I needed to do more at a very high efficiency level. When we come to this part of the world, which is my daily, like you do, I do the same thing that you do, nothing different. It's more difficult, it's more dense, and then the productivity of your reality begins to diminish quite dramatically. So I hid for quite a while, actually. After I left the retreat, I went to Colombia into a community, and I began teaching this community and sharing my experience. And what I've been doing in the United States now is to share my experience, like I'm doing right now. Encouraging you that you need to get in. And in this process, I actually arrive at some major findings, because this is so beautiful that you do your work and your homework, and then you are rewarded by this homework. It's given to you. And then you go and you are completely into a road that is not yours, that is actually many people there and many different layers of divinity in there. And you keep doing your work. But one conclusion that I arrive at, that it's guiding me in everything I do now, is that if we are to change the world, we need to do it from inside first. And I'm sure if you're here in a center like this, I'm sure you will understand what I'm talking about. I'm not lecturing in Wall Street, that people might say, no, the action is here. The action is not there. And actually the action that happens there is the result of your inner actions, It's the mirror image of the collective inner existence or your individual existence. So this is a very important conclusion that sounds simple, but it's not that simple. That if you are going to change the world, you need to change inside first. Because maybe your vision of what this change is all about is the wrong vision, is not the right vision. So to make sure that you have the right vision, even the right vision to propose change, because proposing change also, it's in relationship to what you think it needs to be done. Some people might say, well, we don't need any change, everything is fine. Someone told me that yesterday, that everything is fine, that life is fine, everything is fine. That's okay. So it is fundamental to get this inside yourself. And this, when I say to go inner, doesn't mean use only individually, but also there is a collective inner to which we need to participate on. I will not change the world. We will change the world. This is not a job for one person. I am here just the acupuncturist, putting the needles so other people say, yes, I want to be part of this process. Or this process is ingrained in me, talking as if I were you, and I am willing to be part of this change and transformation. The second thing is that in order to go in, and the in process to be effective to change the world, you need a set of different inner tools and inner instruments. It came very clear to me that many of the instruments that we are using now to actually change the world are not necessarily the most effective ones. And this is a matter of empirical evidence. We're not moving very fast. And there are many centers in the world like this. There are many meditators in the world. There are many people who are doing the inner, but actually the inner is very nice, but the outer, it's really in a situation that is terrible. So in the Hindu Veda, they say the inner is like the outer and the outer is like the inner. So if we see outside that the garden is not well organized, it's because my inner garden is not well organized. I am an environmental economist. I have a PhD from the University of Wisconsin a long, long time ago. And I recently put a book out called Global Warming, Inner Warming. And the idea is that this is not about CO2. CO2 is the outcome of humanity's behavior. And humanity's behavior is the outcome of their inner. I am the one who pollutes. It's not pollution. Pollution is the phenomenon. But who pollutes is you and me. This is not, we talk about a very atomized world. Consumption. No, consumption, it's consumers, it's not consumption. It's not banks, it's bankers, It's not production, it's producers. And we keep atomizing our language in a way that we don't go in understanding that the outer is like your inner, and your inner is like the outer. So if we're going to change the world and we think about that as the outer, my proposal to you tonight is that it is fundamental to change the inner. That there will be no external change of any sustainable level or of any fundamental level if the inner is not changed. Think about peace for a moment, which is one of the terrible problems we have in the world. By the way, yesterday Canada came out and pulled out of the Kyoto Protocol. This is big. This is very big because we love Canadians in developing countries. We follow Canadians. When a Canadian ambassador at the UN speaks, everyone listens. And if the Canadians pull out of the Kyoto Protocol, many countries are going to pull out. And what are we going to do with humanity? And Canada is one of the largest polluters. It's not just... They also have to do their own homework. The same thing with security, justice, equity, These are states of being. These are not things outside you. Why we violate rights against women is because we have not self-realized rights. We don't have it inside. And even today in 2011, we don't respect the rights of indigenous peoples. They seem to be second-class citizens in the world that are going there. It's a problem. Why? Because all our attention from the Industrial Revolution has been the outer. The outer. Technology will do it. Wait. Even people are freezing their bodies to wait for a solution to their disease. We believe that somewhere, technologically, this will be fixed. But I'm saying there is not only outer technologies there, but there are also inner technologies inside ourselves, and quantum physics is sort of putting everything in place, that the inner actually is the outer, is not like the outer, is the outer, and the outer is the inner. So my first conclusion is that if we are going to change the world, we need to go in. And associated to that conclusion, we need to select the instrument of the inner that are capable to change the world. And here I'm revealing to you something that I have not revealed much from my retreat, is that for the first time I understood that actually not every yoga system will be effective to change the world. Not every meditation system will be as effective to change the world as other. In other words, all are good. There's no meditation that is bad. So if you go to the inner, that is 50% of the battle. Then if you want to meditate type A, you add another 10-15% to your battle. But there is a form of meditation, there is a form of yoga that is ideal in relationship to organizing humanity to change the world. So after studying 200 sutras of the Buddha, I ended up with 3 books, writing 3 books during my retreat, and one of them is called A Pocket Full of Buddhas, which are essentially 108 vignettes of these 200 sutras that really enter into this issue of changing the world. Because not what the Buddha said, there are thousands of pages of the Tripitaka. There are things that are very good and pointed to changing the world. And what I learned is that there is a very interesting correlation between your meditation method, your yoga method, and the 5 elements of life. What are the 5 elements of life? Space, wind, earth, water, and fire. And the Buddha taught 40 meditation methods. And then he ended up at the end saying one seems to be the most effective for changing the world. And so you go to these sutras, and the sutras describe the type of meditation that is very much a wind element. For example, Kriya Yoga, is very much immersed in wind. I began my meditation several decades ago with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi with transcendental meditation. And transcendental meditation is based on a space, on Akasha, and is based on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So if we want to organize the world, we need a meditation method that creates the incentive to people to move into this form of organization of humanity, form of human interactions that actually will lead to change in the world. For example, if I teach you mantra meditation tonight with Om, that mantra meditation is fundamentally crucial for people who need to detach from action, when I practiced Maharishi for many years, I wanted to get out of action, and it was good for me because I was more or less a workaholic, working 12, 15 hours a day. And I was tired. My nerve system was really in trouble. So this contact with the space, with the nature of Akasha, enabled me to recover my nerve system. And Maharishi has many articles about the impact of transcendental meditation on your blood pressure, on your heart, on your brain wave coherence, and so on. But some people, tend to withdraw from action, because action is not where they should go, or there is too much action and you need some balance. With the same token, there are meditations that are very linked to fire. For example, Kundalini Yoga, So there is a lot about fire, the breath of fire. It's a very essential in Kundalini Yoga. So I learned this. I knew something before I went there, but now I came with the experience of how precise, how geometrically correct meditation should be to be able to have this perfect relationship with the element from which this meditation comes from. So if I want to change the world, if we want to change the world, we need a meditation method that you will say, yes, let me stand up, let me organize with you, and not say, let me talk to you tomorrow. Now I need to really rest, I need to have my peace. All legitimate. I'm not saying that that's one is better than the other. But, there were 3 accompanying conclusions to this first one of changing the world and changing the instrument. The first one is that not all the meditation methods take you really inward. You believe that you are inward, but actually you are outward. And what we are looking for is changing the world from inside out. The inward stroke. For example, mantra meditation takes you out because the brain, while you are conscious of the mantra, you are out. Some breathing techniques take you out. This is not bad. Please don't take this as me criticizing this method. I'm saying that they are less effective in terms of being in your inward stroke. The second subsidiary conclusion is that it is essential in the process of meditative existence to refine your mind.